Hey, welcome to Stillness in the Storms. I'm Steven Webb, your host, and this week I want to talk to you about 3 things that help me to stay quite positive and help me to get through difficult times. And I'll go on to that in a minute. I just want to say I've had a most awesome week. Okay, it's been crazy busy, but as some of you may know, I'm the mayor of Truro, and I went and said goodbye to the HMS Tamar yesterday and its crew. And yeah, they're so young, 23 years old, the average age. And the commander of the ship, I called it a boat yesterday, and and Lieutenant Commander leaned into me and goes, "Ship, don't say boat." And so I apologise. I apologise to every Navy person out there that if I said a boat, it's not a boat, it's a ship. I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, how awesome was that? I met the crew and I was speaking to them, and you got these 20-year-olds that are like driving this ship. You know, I was barely driving my car. Well, I wasn't driving my car. I'd already broke my neck by that time. But yeah, it's just amazing. How awesome are they? And the chef, oh my word. I took down some Cornish saffron buns, 100 of them for the crew. And when I tried a bit of his cake, it was so soft and so amazing. I was like, not my saffron buns are not a patch on that. You know, he could probably make them himself, and he had some saffron on board as well. Apparently it's the most expensive spice. But yeah, just amazing day, just meeting them and having a chat with them and telling me they're going away for 5 years. But although the ship's going away for 5 years, the crew only do 12 weeks on, and then they take a few weeks off and they get flown back and all that. So it's amazing. So yeah, I doubt whether any of them will listen to this, but you know, have an amazing voyage. They called it a holiday. I'm not quite sure it's a holiday, but they're going on holiday. So enjoy it. Enjoy your mission. Enjoy whatever you're going to be doing over there. And it was amazing to meet you. Amazing to meet you. That's the HMS Tamar. So if you see it anywhere, it's twinned with Truro, the town that I am mayor of currently. I was just loving having those experiences. So yeah, let's get back to today's podcast. 3 things that will help you to stay positive and happy even in difficult times. So I'm going to go through each one. And first of all, and there's loads and loads and loads of different things, but these are just 3 things that I just, I think I live by most days. And that is number 1, the alternative is not always better. And I bang on about this a lot, but this is probably the most important one. You know, lots of people come to me and say, well, I imagine if you hadn't broke your neck, you'd have had a wonderful long career. You'd have had a family. You'd have been really successful. And I'm like, how do you know that? You know, at the time I was drinking quite a bit and I was just partying. I was young. That year I'd just been kicked out of 6th form. I ran away from home. I'd done all these different things. That year was a terrible year. I took a drugs overdose because, well, I say drugs over, it was paracetamol, like headache, painkiller, and I took it all because I ended up single and I didn't want to be single and I was hurting and I wanted attention. And, it was just a terrible year for me. So the chances are my trajectory wasn't a wonderful life. I was an idiot when I used to drive the car. I used to drive too fast on the narrow road. So, I could have ended up even a worse injury or worse. I could have died or something in the car accident a week later. Or even worse, I could have ended up killing somebody else. I just don't simply know if my life would have been better if I hadn't broken my neck. And it's the same as if you're in a traffic jam. We often think, well, if I wasn't in this traffic jam, I would be on time and everything would be brilliant and be amazing. No. If you weren't in that traffic jam, you might have had an accident just a couple of miles down the road. Perhaps that traffic jam's saving you. Perhaps that red light is saving you from an accident. The point is, you don't know. We don't always think, we often think the alternative is better than our current situation. But we don't know. There is no alternative. You cannot go and live the alternative. It's not possible. If it was possible, it's worth spending some time on, but it's not possible. So that's one of the things that really does help me just not looking at my life through rose-tinted glasses in a way that, if I wasn't paralysed, I would have had an amazing life. And think about your life. How many times have you been, I wish it wasn't like this? Well, careful what you wish for, because the alternative may not be better. When you're dished up a meal that isn't quite that nice, and the alternative might have been a meal that made you poorly, perhaps. But the point stands is there's no alternative to what you've got right now. This is your life. This is your best life. You may not enjoy it. You may not like it. And we'll return to this on number 3. But just briefly, this is your life. This is your best one, because it's the only one you can live. It's the only one you can be. There is no life that I can live, my experience, not in a wheelchair, paralysed the way I am. That's just simple facts. But we often sit there dreaming, well, if they hadn't left me, or if that person had said yes to me, or if I dated that person, or if I hadn't done that. We're looking at all these scenarios like as if the alternative was way better. If only I hadn't said that to that person, it would have worked out perfect. Perhaps not. Who knows? No one. That's the point. And number 2, negative thoughts are not bad. Now, I've approached this a couple of times on my podcast, and I think it's really important to remember thoughts are thoughts. Yeah, that's all they are. So when you're driving down a road and you suddenly see a steep incline over to the left, and we drive on the left here, so you might see it on your right, say, and you think of driving down over there and what it would be like. That's not a negative thought. That's a thought that your mind is having in order to analyze the situation and give you alternatives for you to be able to make your judgment up. In other words, it's saying, be careful. But it has to imagine what would happen in order to see whether the scenario is good or bad. And I think I've used this on a podcast before, not that long ago, actually. But you got those negative people and you got those positive people, and we often think we need to be around positive people, and rather than the polar opposite. But realistically, I'd rather be around people that are just realists, that are positive sometimes, that are negative sometimes. And here's why. If I go into a jungle or a forest and I'm with a group of friends and it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm playing my music and playing the guitar, I say that I can play a guitar. My hands are paralyzed. Anyway, back to what you're talking about, Stevie. So there I am, sat in a forest with my friends, and someone's playing a guitar, and the fire's going, and we're all enjoying it and all that. And there's lovely marshmallows over the open fire, cups of coffee or alcohol or something, and a huge bang goes on in the background. Then the optimist, the happy person, says, "Don't worry about it. Sing on, play the music on, and just enjoy it. Down another couple of drinks and all that, and we carry on." The pessimist goes, "Shut up, everybody. Stop talking. What the hell was that?" And everyone's like, "Don't be a party pooper." And he's like, "No, seriously, we could die right this minute. That could be like a saber-toothed tiger running over right now and is about to jump on you and kill you." And everyone's like, "No, don't worry about it." Well, the funny thing is, he's probably not right. There probably isn't many saber-toothed tigers around anymore. However, he is the one that's going to save your life. He is the only one there in the group that literally is going to give you a chance of life if there is something bearing down on you. The optimist would end up being eaten, carrying on the music. So it's not about a negative thought. It's not about being negative or positive. It's about the mind is giving you thoughts. And in giving you those thoughts, it's you choose whether it's positive or negative. Do I go with it? Do I not go with it? And that's the main thing. Very often we think that we have to go with every thought we have. We don't. So negative thoughts are not always a bad thing. And remember that when you end up feeling quite negative and your mind is giving you these things. When you come across a negative person, all that, just recognize their negative thoughts are just trying to protect them where they are to at the moment. So the third one is you cannot change the present moment. Now, we all know this. We all know, whatever you want to change, you have to change it over time. Even if you want to just change your clothes, you cannot just boom, flick, or I don't know, click your fingers. It changes. It doesn't work like that. You have to go and do it. And whether or not, if it's raining or if the weather's bad, you cannot change it. Once something's happened, it's happened. You cannot go back and redo it. There's no redos. It's not like computer games. Go back 30 seconds, have another try, have another life. It's not like that. It's purely, once this moment is here, it's here. Just like you listening to this podcast right now, sat here listening to it. You cannot be or do anything different now. You can in the next moment, you can choose to do something. But in this moment, you cannot. And when we recognize that, we stop fighting the present moment. We stop being annoyed by it. Like, I wish this present moment was something different. I wish my hair was less tangly, or I wish I looked better, or I wish I was slimmer, or I wish I wasn't stuck in this traffic jam. I wish. So we're often thinking, very similar to number one, that there's some kind of alternative to this moment. There isn't. This moment is this moment, and it's exactly as it is. And there's nothing you can do about it. No amount of closing your eyes and making funny noises, no amount of meditation, no amount of avoiding it is going to change this present moment. Nothing can do that. There's no time machine either. You cannot go back and change it. Before you say, what about time travel? No. I don't believe in time travel. Someone would have already come back here by now. No, wait. We got to open the door, haven't we? No, we haven't. I don't believe in it for a minute. Anyway, that's a different podcast, isn't it? Do you believe in time travel? Let me know in the comments. That'd be interesting. But yeah, they're my three things. I just want to let you know, though, I know I babbled on a little bit in this podcast, but you know me. I always do. So number one, the alternative is not always better. The other life, the other situation, if you weren't stuck in traffic, is not always better. Negative thoughts aren't bad. Negative thoughts are just what they are. They're there to protect you. They're there to help you. And the reason why we've evolved so well is because we have a negative bias. Just like the story in the forest. If we did not have that negative bias, we probably wouldn't have lasted this long. And number three, you cannot change the present moment. There you go. Boom. You cannot change the present moment. It's not a matter of whether you like it or not, accept it or enjoy it. You still can't change it. It's kind of funny. And it might be the most awful present moment, but you still cannot change it. All you can do is influence the next moment by what you do from this present moment. That's all. That's the only power you have. And then you don't even have a lot of influence there. Very little influence. Let's face it. You cannot even choose where the weight's going to go on if you eat 2 donuts. And that's your own body. Think about it. You're really not in control of anything much, are we? We're not in control of the thoughts that come up, the present moment. We're not in control of how things pan out most of the time, or how things are arising. We're only in control of what we do with them. And that's the key aspect. And I think that's the part that brings it all together. You're in control of what you do with it. So I'm Steven Webb. This is Stillness in the Storms, the podcast that I try to keep them under 20 minutes. They're a nice little bite size. If you can leave a review, you'd be the most amazing person today. That's the way you can make a biggest difference in my life today, is leaving a review on your Apple device or your Google or wherever you're listening to this podcast. You'll be doing me a massive, massive favor. It just ends up, it means this podcast will reach more people that kind of need to hear this message. I just want to say take care. Thank you, and I love you. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next week. Bye.